All right, hey guys, we got kind of a special guest today, and we're going to continue to do these as much as we can too, because I think it's really special to kind of get the flip side of things. You know, we tell you guys as players all the time on our thoughts and what we think you guys should do as players, but today we got a college coach with us to kind of explain his side of things a little bit more. And today we got Coach Colin Connor. He's the head baseball coach at Concordi University of Chicago. We've sent numerous players over there, and one of them was Mike Vermella, who really etched his name into numerous different pitching records, and we can kind of talk about Mikey a little bit. And then currently we got an arm there too, Chris Woods, who I think just finished up his freshman year last year, I think it was, if I'm right, and then sophomore this year. So Coach Connor was assistant over there at CUC and then took over the head spot, but as an assistant, he appeared in 2 College World Series. Saw CUC be number 1 in the country ranking wise, and then also was named the 2018 Assistant Baseball Coach of the Year by ABCA, which is awesome. So, Coach, man, I really appreciate you jumping on here.
Andrew, thanks for having me, buddy. It's always a blast. Obviously, the times are a little different right now, but any chance we can get to get on here and talk about baseball is always great. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I think we just sat for like 15, 20 minutes and literally just talked baseball before we started pressing record. So it's nice to get away from everything and actually talk baseball a little bit.
Absolutely. Helps you forget about it a little bit.
So first off, how's my guy Chris Woods doing?
Chris is doing good, man. He's really good in the classroom. So that's one really good thing for us. And he's kind of a guy, as you know, that was a little bit of a late bloomer, pretty raw in terms of his ability and what he was doing on the baseball field. So he's grown up a ton. He's learned a ton, and legitimately you can ask him to do anything. And if it's going to help him, he's one of the guys that's going to jump on board and at least try it. So super coachable, and he's getting better every day.
Yeah, that's great to hear. What are some traits? I know you mentioned some stuff with Chris, but what are some traits that you immediately kind of look for in a player, either when you see them on a field or you get from maybe an email from them, or even if a coach tells you about them? What are kind of some immediate traits that you try to get into your program to kind of build that, I guess, that foundation of a program?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us is character, man. I mean, if you have a kid that is a good kid and that's coachable and comes from a good program and a good family, it's a lot easier to get them to be part of our system. So, as you mentioned, we've had some success here, and a big part of it is just getting really, really good kids. So the character piece is huge, and usually, if they're good kids, they're probably good students. In Division III, obviously, a lot of all of the money that they're going to get is based on academics. So we talk daily about being really good off the field. So if you're good off the field, you're going to be good on the field. So that's our motto, and that's something that we really stick by. If you look at our All-American, All-Region player of the years that we've had, a lot of those guys are our best students too. Don't get me wrong, they love baseball, but they know if they take care of everything off the field, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to just be all in when they get to baseball. They don't have to worry about turning off a test or a paper, whatever the case may be. They can just show up and buy in and do what they probably came to college to do.
Yeah, awesome. And then I'm sure you've seen a million different things throughout your time on the recruiting trail, but what are some of the things that you kind of, as soon as you see it, you cross a kid off, you put an X to their name on their roster, that things that you've seen that you go, yeah, that's not a type of kid for me, whether it's a hustle thing, whether it's the way they show up to a park, how they're dressed, how they treat their coaches or umpires, anything like that. What's kind of some of the stuff that you see that you immediately just go, yeah, that's not the guy for me?
Yeah, so there's a decent sized checklist, but a few of the main things for me is just basically how they handle it when things don't go their way. So anytime anybody's 3 for 3 or throws 5 innings shutout with 10 strikeouts, whatever the case may be, they're going to be the man and they're going to carry themselves in a really good manner. But how are you going to be when things don't go your way? Are you going to throw your stuff? Are you going to become selfish? We look for guys that are just good teammates and good dudes that carry themselves the right way. Another big part of it is the families, to be honest with you. When I go through and I go to watch kids play, I try to find, once I find the kids that I want to watch, I try to find the families too, and not necessarily going and talking to them, but just see how they react as the game goes on. And even if they're bringing drinks to their kids or whatever the case may be, when they get to college, my goal is to make sure that we're continuing what they've done, but our job also is to make sure that they become men. So in order for them to do that, they have to be able to just kind of take some accountability, be able to separate themselves a little bit as well, and just the family is as big of a part of it as the kid, just because the kid usually ends up being a product of what the family is, because that is their environment they grow up
Sure.
in. So the families are a big part, and just the way that the guys carry themselves throughout the whole thing, and just what kind of teammates they are as well.
Yeah, I think both those things are huge. And one, how they kind of react is, I think, something that in today's world, as we live in it right now, where everyone is in this situation where they can't have baseball, and you got guys, some guys are going to sit around and do nothing right now, right? That adversity is going to hit them, and they're going to sit around and they're going to play video games. You got other guys that adversity hits them, and they become stronger because of it. They take it and they go, you know what? I want to be a baseball player and I want to go as high as I can. And, I'm going to do everything in my power to get better. And I think that's huge to know that that's something that college coaches look for. And then the other side, the parents things is just thank you for saying that, because, we always try to tell our parents that, it's as much as what they're doing with their players and how they're reacting to things, and just let their players go play. And I think that's huge.
And I mean, another thing with that too is, so I'm very new to being a parent. So my son is about to be 2 years old. Obviously, you have three kids, so
Current nap time, right? You got in.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. We're in nap time right now, so it works out perfect. But I understand that, like, the love that you have for your kid is one of the most powerful things, and they want the best for their kid, but at the same time, they just have to allow themselves to be realistic and know that whatever path that they choose to put their kid in terms of whether it be Rhino baseball, Concordi, or Chicago, as long as they check their boxes and go through the whole process, they're probably going to put their kid in a really good spot that's going to be surrounded by people that are going to be able to continue to make them really good men.
Yeah.
So probably just trust in the process too, which I get it. Like, I really love my son and he's only 2. I can't imagine how it's going to be when he's 18, 19 years old. But the fact that I'm able to deal with 18, 19-year-olds every day, it gives me a little bit of perspective too. So,
Yeah, I always say one of the best things that will ever come out of the Scrabble baseball side, me, helping run around a baseball is, I get to see the really good and the really bad of how to be as a parent in terms of an athlete, right? Like, I know what to do and not to do. And trust me, my son's already in soccer, and, my daughter was in travel soccer, and it takes me a second or two to just go, hey, step back and just let them be them. But, yeah, I've seen a lot of good and I've seen a lot of bad too.
absolutely, and it's a learning experience for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very new to the parenting world and decently new to the coaching world too. But as long as we allow ourselves to learn, we're going to put those guys in the best spot possible.
Yeah, for sure.